well, I know I don't want to just sit on the floor in the masjid. I want to do something. I want to do something in a big way, and I want to do something that had just a wow factor to it. And I know that, okay, well, I've been speaking in several masajids throughout the city and even other places in the country, but I said I don't want just another masjid. My name is Khalis Rashad. I am the Imam, spiritual director of Ibrahim Center, also known as Ibrahim Islamic Center. When we started, we were looking for a space that I felt was culturally relevant, but also Islamically appropriate, where we could balance the tradition with modernity.
You know, some of the places that I know I went with my family, you know, you walk in and you give salams to people, and that was it. No one wanted to really hang around and talk or how you doing and, you know, that kind of stuff. And it, you know, it just felt real dry. But, you know, with that group of us who were in that book group, we had a good rapport with one another, and we, you know, we would go to each other's houses and have dinners and things like that. And our, you know, our kids grew up together, you know, we're growing up together and stuff like that. And it was just kind of like, well, why can't we feel this in a mosque?
So the memory that I have, either I got an email or a phone call. I think it was an email and a phone call by Sheikh Khalis, but he said that basically he's opening a space in Third Ward. Was I interested? Heck yeah, what do I do?
And at that time they were located on Alameda in the Third Ward. And so I started to, you know, attend the Jumas. And some of the people that, you know, were the core people who were operating and who had started the Islamic Center, I knew them. And so it was a comfortable thing for me to go somewhere where I actually knew people. And so it became my Islamic home.
Because we convert to Islam, you know, we have family, like blood related, but we are looking for a new family.
Started throwing events, you know, we had meetings, what kind of programming, what topics do we cover, and you put it out there. And people started showing up. I remember one class, the Being Muslim class, it was like, we looked up and the whole space was like jam-packed. I was like, oh, okay, so there's, you know, in business you say there's a market for this, there's a need. And Sheikh Khalis used to always say, he's about, you know, making Muslims act normal. So you can be yourself, right? And that's the big theme that ran through all of our programming. And so we would find certain issues that were resonating at the time and put it out there, and people just started showing up, man. And they found a place, they found people who were being themselves. They would see me and Malika arguing and say, oh, they real.
I mean, if there's ever been something that you've longed for, like truly been passionate about, and then you get it, what do? Or you just take that and just stick it in the corner like, all right, I finally got it, and you put it in the corner and like, all right, cool, you know. No, you know, so that's, I think, why it lasted the way that, you know, that's why we were able to maintain that.
I think it's important for people to feel at home when they come to a religious space, especially in our day and age. I think a lot of our spaces are transactional rather than transformative. And I converted to Islam. I converted to Islam 35 years ago. And I was a Christian at this time, and I grew up in the church, and I would remember how important it was for the leadership of the church to make people feel at home. It's important that how the space looks, how it smells. You know, burning of oud is very, very important for us. I know some people say, well, why don't you just get Glade plugins? You know, that could be even, you know, well, doesn't smell the same to me. We want people to have a good experience from the moment they walk in the door to the time they leave. And they'll go back and they'll tell us. So I think beauty, ihsan, will tell the story for you. And ihsan will have people beating the path to your door. And it's not an act for us, it's just, it's natural, it's authentic.
I think it's the intention behind the space and the amount of details that Sheikh Khalis inspires us to look at. He really motivates and inspires us to think about the whole person as they're coming into the center, and it's something that trickles down through us and through our community, but we also feel from those who are coming in for the first time. You genuinely, when you walk in, you feel like you're home.
Allah is in the aid of the believer as long as the believer is in the aid or in the service of his brother. And so if we want Allah to aid us, we have to also be in the service of other people. Hence we have love and service as our hallmarks, our other guiding stars in our work.
You know, my daughters have grown up here. They grew up between two masjids in this area, but they like this masjid. This is the fun masjid. This is the, you know, anti-Malika masjid. This is where they want to be. You know, we exist in, you know, a family unit, and then we exist in a community unit. And so my kids are growing up in this community, and it makes me so happy to like have people that I can call upon, and have people. When I had the baby, Malika tiptoed onto my deck and I heard her, and she was dropping off Sue. You know, it's not just a masjid, it's a community, it's a home. And I think, you know, I'm sure you've heard it throughout all of the interviews. There's no way to encapsulate just how this place makes you feel.
Yeah, so then he kept saying, oh, like I've been going to this place for Jummah, and like I think you'd really like it. I'm like, yeah, it's okay. And then he kept pushing, and I was like, okay, fine. So then I went for Jummah, and it's like everybody was so nice. I'd never had this experience before. Like everyone's welcoming as if they knew me, because they knew him, and they were just like, oh, we're so happy you're here. And like, they just talked to me like I'd known them. And I'm actually like kind of quiet and reserved when I don't know people. And so they just immediately made me feel comfortable.
You know, home is a place where you can just relax, you know, and get to know people, get to know one another. So when you're working on your heart, man, I think, you know, from your actions and your words and your kindness and your serving, like people feel that. They feel that, and so they find a place in it.
I feel like the core of the community that comes here is either aspiring to live a very healthy, balanced life, and that's mostly because when you look at Sheikh Khalis, when you look at a teacher like him, he genuinely has worked very hard to have that balance and to have the community here really either aspires to be that or is already at that point and wants to be around one another. And so I find that Ibrahim Center is truly, for me, a template of what a healthy center looks like, with families who are communicating well, who are balanced, and who are in a beautiful relationship with Allah in their environment.
A lot of other masjids, like, I feel like the sheikhs aren't as involved as like Sheikh Khalis is here. Like even with like the little kids, it's like if they see him, they'll like run up to him and give him like a big hug. Or like after Jummah, they'll be like, he'll be running around the masjid like playing with them. Like he's so like welcoming, and so like I feel like from him it's like the whole masjid is like so welcoming, and the kids can feel free to like play around.
You know, our motto is companionship, love and service, and sacred companionship. And so this idea of making sure that people feel welcomed and they feel at home, and they're coming to a space that they will be happy to even bring their family members who may be of other faith traditions, and they feel okay being. So now that tells me, like, now when we have the Little Stewards program, the children, which I'm very, very happy about. I think like when you see youth and children playing and things are natural for them, and so I think that's definitely, we are really, really looking at that in terms of how do we care for our youth.
This is the first place my kids chose as their community. Every other place we've gone, it's because they went with us. And it started that way. But now their relationship with the masjid is completely their own.
The next step is really to bring our communities together. I think Ibrahim Center is in a very unique place where we've experienced extensive growth over the last year. And what we really need is our families who've been around for a long time to actually mentor and shepherd our families that are newer to our community, to know how to exist in this community in a healthy way and to help it grow in a healthy way.
So the fundraising goal is $350,000. And I still think in comparison to other centers, that's still fairly modest. I remember when we first raised our first 100,000, and that was only like 3 or 4 years ago. For the first 8 years or so, we were raising like 50,000 in Ramadan. That was kind of, and we were penny pinching, and we were we were bootstrapping a lot with that.
What I hope for the future is there are a lot of really cool programs that I think we have the potential to do so much with here in Ibrahim Center. And inshallah we will. Even little things I've seen us do now is like the Little Stewards program, the Dawam seminary that we're a part of. Little things like this, or they're not little, but they're huge. Inshallah, I hope we grow into that and continue to have the capacity to have these kind of programs. And like myself, this space brought me into it. It opened its arms and grabbed me and welcomed me in. It felt like a warm hug, and I think that inshallah we are going to be able to do the same for others.
For 2025 to 2026, we're really looking to make this space a place where we are able to support our community. Currently, our community has grown, almost doubled since last year. So one of the biggest things that we have seen is a need for community support, whether it's our elders, whether it's counseling services, whether it's convert care. We really need to expand and really legitimize some of our programming that is already happening intentionally, but to create an environment where that's happening. We have a lot of beautiful ideas, but we really just need the funding to be able to put in the energy behind it and really scale where we're at right now.
And I know if Sheikh Khalifa wants to have this place be open 24/7, 7 days a week, having a place like that I think would be great. And that goes along with, I think, Dr. Jackson's vision of you need to have us be culturally part of the community for Islam to spread, and this place for sure is one of the anchors, I think, especially in the greater Houston region, for that type of work.
I hope that it grows. I hope that more people can experience the feeling that we get when we walk into IIC every single time. I've never walked in and felt unwelcome. I've never walked in and felt like, gosh, I shouldn't be here today. And I've never regretted coming here. Sometimes you go to the masjid, you're like, gosh, that sermon was just so bad, and I could have, done so many other things, but I've never regretted coming here. I always get a gem or two out of any lecture that I come to. I hope that everyone just gets to experience IIC. I just hope that people walk in through that door, and the more people, we're gonna burst at the seams, or we're gonna have to get a bigger center and, with a coffee shop maybe.
I am grateful and honored and feel deeply privileged that anyone would feel that I'm worthy to be their sheikh or their imam, or to contribute to their lives in some meaningful way. And those are the things that keep me in the work. But I would say that in 50 years, if Ibrahim Islamic Center did not exist anymore, and people felt a void, I think we've done our job. But I think we'll be around, inshallah. Yes.